So this presentation is for anybody who wants to place loans with Velocity or doesn't know enough about our guidelines. I'm going to run through every single one of our guidelines, make sure you know exactly how to sell a Velocity loan and what scenarios are perfect for Velocity. So first things first, if you guys don't already know, I am a wholesale lender with Velocity Mortgage. We lend on small balance commercial, investment 1 to 4s, and multifamily assets. And here's all my contact information. All right, let's get into the presentation. So just to give you guys a high-level overview, this is generally what Velocity is in a nutshell from a high-level overview. Now, I'm going to give you these points, and we're going to get into further detail on each one of these points throughout the presentation. So first things first, Velocity is a wholesale lender, and we're nationwide. So basically means wholesale. We are not direct to consumer. All of our marketing efforts go towards marketing to brokers. We want to empower brokers to sell our money. And that's not just in one state or two states or a region, that's nationwide. So we want to empower brokers nationwide to sell our money. Moving on, we lend on investment properties and commercial properties. We don't do any single family primary residence loans. So the property has to be an investment property, 1 to 4, multifamily and commercial asset if it's going to be a Velocity deal. Number 3 is we're a small balance wholesale lender. So basically what that means, we have a small balance box ranging from very low loan amounts of 75,000 all the way up to about 5 million. And then finally, the big point with Velocity is we do a simple underwrite. We don't look at the borrower's personal income, assets, taxes. It's a very simple underwrite loan. I like to call us a hard money underwrite with conventional style terms. All right, now let's dive into exactly what wholesale lending looks like with Velocity Mortgage. Well, the first thing is that we represent the money. Simply put, we underwrite the loan, we approve the loan, and we fund the loan. And on the other end of the spectrum, the broker is the face of our money. You guys originate the loans, you sell the loan, and in some cases, you can actually show as the lender of record on our loans. That's our white label program. So in a nutshell, our wholesale lending is entirely focused on empowering brokers to originate more money, which is why we have the white label program. Moving on, let's talk about our niche assets, the niche assets that we excel in while other lenders do not excel in these aspects. So first off is 1 to 4 investment properties. We are really good at Airbnb rentals, sober living houses, assisted senior living care in a 1 to 4 residential investment property, and daycares. So a lot of lenders like to shy away from sober living houses, assisted living, even Airbnbs. Velocity is totally cool with these uses on 1 to 4 investment properties. So when you see one of these scenarios, I want you guys to think Velocity Mortgage. Moving on 5+ in mixed use assets, where we excel, where other lenders fall short, is our residential requirement. So a lot of lenders say, hey, if you have a mixed use asset, I want to see at least 50% of it is residential. Well, there's no percentage requirement with Velocity. You could have 10% residential and 90% commercial. Velocity's cool with the loan. Now, finally, looking at commercial assets, where we really excel is that standard general use commercial property, self-storage, auto repair, warehouse, and office. This is where we excel the most. Now, moving on, let's get into those loan amounts. So remember how I mentioned we're a small balance lender? Well, this is where we get into what that means. So it basically means we lend on assets on loan amounts as low as 75,000 on single family or 100,000 on multifamily commercial, all the way up to about 5 million. Anything outside of 5 million, we're really not that interested. However, if you do get one that's at the brim, maybe 6 million, don't be afraid to bring it to me. We may like the deal depending on the LTV. At the end of the day, we're an investor's lender. You know, we underwrite investment loans. This is where most of the investors rest in the marketplace in America, is this small balance space, and we are here to cater that space. Now, how do you actually get paid? A lot of people have this question. One of the first questions my brokers ask is, how do we get paid? Well, it's pretty cool. We allow you to earn up to 5 points with us. So you can charge up to 5 points. Now, that can be a combination of yield spread or front end origination, but the total points you can earn is 5 points with us. So right now, we're allowing people to charge up to 1 point on the yield. So you could tag one from that and then throw an additional four on the front. And that would total 5 points origination. Moving on, let's talk about some of the primary selling points with Velocity Mortgage. So if I were to just throw some selling points to you over the phone, this is what I would say. Hey, there are a lot of other DSCR lenders. Guess what? Velocity is a no ratio DSCR lender on 1-4s. So where other lenders are falling short at maybe a 0.8 or a 1.2 debt service ratio, we are a no ratio DCR lender. We have no payment reserves. So a lot of lenders want to see 6 months payment reserves. Velocity doesn't have any payment reserves on our loans. No seasoning on source of funds. Very important when you have a lot of investors investing together. We don't season source of funds for down payment. Holdbacks. So let's say a property needs a little bit of work. Maybe it needs new shingles or whatever it is. We will allow for holdbacks. So if a property is not quite occupiable, if there's just a little bit work done, we'll hold back the money and release it once the rehab is completed. Small balance commercial. Okay, this is a huge underserved sector in the United States. Most commercial lenders stop the bar at about $500,000 to $1 million on commercial assets. Velocity goes all the way down to 100,000. So we service a huge market segment that most lenders shy away from, which makes us a fantastic niche lender on that space. No FICO score requirements. So this is huge. We got a lot of borrowers with a lot of equity who have trash credit. You can trash your credit in just a couple months if you just have a couple months, bad months commission, right? Or whatever it is. So the cool thing is if someone has equity in their house, they can come to us, they can pull equity out with no FICO score requirements at 50% LTV. 600 FICO for 60%. So we still will work with you at a higher LTV if you just reach a 600 mark. Most lenders stop the bar at about 680. So 600 is a fantastic mark to get a higher LTV. And then obviously if you want the max LTVs, and for us it's 70 to 75%, you need to have a 650. Now let's talk about one of our loan programs. This is our fix and flip program, and we call it the ARV Pro because it is for pro flippers who have money and know what they're doing. We need people who have experience in this program. Our rate's 10.49 to 11.49. We go up to 85% LTV on the purchase and up to 100% on the rehab, maxing out at 80% LTC or 75% ARV, whichever's less. Now, it's a 12-month interest-only loan. It's a regular fix and flip loan, guys. $75,000 all up to about $5 million loan amounts on this program. $2 million really is the max on SFRs. However, we will look at the bigger ones if they make sense. 650 FICO score requirement. You have to own a primary or a rental if you want to do this program. And we're only providing fix and flip loans on 1-4 investment properties. And the cool thing is you can use our fix and flip and then exit into our perm loan if you want. Moving on, the Flex Perm Loan. This is our bread and butter. This is the one we've been running since 2013. It's a 30-year fixed rate term, fully amortized, which means borrowers can have principal and interest payments. But the cool thing is we will allow for interest-only payments up to 10 years if they would like, which means there's no balloon payment. So it's a 30-year loan, interest-only payments for the first 10 years, and then it amortizes for the remainder of the term. So this is actually a really fantastic selling point for investors who are focused on cash flow over paying down principal. Now, we do cover all property types in this program. So you're looking at 1-4s with no ratio program. We're looking at 5+ units at 75% LTV with mixed use and commercial assets at 70%. Now, the rates are going to vary per property type and transaction type. So on SFRs, we're landing around 8.365 to about 10.615. Multifamily, just bump the rate up by about 1%. And then commercial, bump it up another 1%. And that's where you end up landing on our rates and property type. Remember, no FICO score requirement at 50% LTV. And if you want the max LTVs, you need to have at least the 650. Now, here's a quick cheat sheet on exactly what we like. Just as a reminder, if you don't remember some of the main things that I hit earlier, we really like 1 to 4 investment properties. Those are the easiest loans to do. So if you want a high success rate with us, you probably want to send us as much 1 to 4 business as you can. We really like heavy populated areas, so major markets. So we're talking metro and suburban areas. If you bring me a commercial deal, I want to see that it is an occupied commercial property or it's going to be occupied by a borrower who owns a business already. Now, we do like vacant 1 to 4 residential. We don't have cash flow requirements, so it's a pretty amazing program there. And then obviously on the commercial space, auto repairs, money, daycares, money, and owner occupied commercial assets are great for us. Now, let's talk about what we don't really like to see, deals that will probably get rejected by us, so you know what to send us and what you don't want to send us. You don't want to send us deals that are in rural areas. So if you get a commercial asset that's kind of designated rural, odds are we're not going to have enough sales comparables there. So you're going to want to walk away from anything that's kind of rural where we don't have enough sales comps to back our liquidity position, equity position. Mid-rehab projects, we don't like them. So if you have a borrower who was doing a rehab, they got stopped for whatever reason, and now they need to finish the project, Velocity is not the lender for that. Special use buildings, I don't like anything special use, like gas stations, let's say uh, event centers. There's a lot. Oh, standalone restaurants like franchise restaurants like McDonald's or Denny's. I don't like special use buildings. Banks, a bank building with like an actual drive-through and a vault. These are special use buildings. And the reason why we don't like special use is because if that renter were to go out of business, it's extremely difficult to get another renter into that space because it's simply a special use building. So bars, restaurants, funeral homes are a couple more as well. Car washes, gas stations, dry cleaners. These are things we do not like to see. Moving on, Velocity is more of a fintech company than anything else. That's what I like to call us. And that's because we have our own broker portal. So a lot of other companies will lease broker portals or CRMs from other platforms. Velocity built out our own broker portal, and it is fantastic. I'm on a conversational basis with the head developer up there, and he takes all of our recommendations and actually implements them into the Velocity portal. So the cool thing about the portal is you can pinpoint your loan quotes, you can adjust terms, and you can get a term sheet basically the same day. Within 24 hours of requesting terms, I can get you a term sheet. Now, this screenshot is taken when rates were really low a few years ago. However, this is an example of what you can see in the broker portal on how you can actually pinpoint your loan quotes without even talking to me. You can go in there and price your own loans out, adjust the rebate, adjust the buy downs. It's a pretty amazing feature. Now let's talk about our broker marketing. Remember how I said we're a wholesale lender and we really want to empower our brokers to sell our money? Well, this is where you get into our broker marketing toolkit. So we're going to give you our PDF flyers, email marketing kit, social media marketing kit, a search engine marketing tool, direct mailers and postcards. We give you everything you need and it's all white label. Now, this is all digital. We're not going to send you flyers. We're not going to do your marketing for you, but we have put together some fantastic digital marketing information where you can just download the marketing information, throw your logo on top, and get running marketing our product so we can start originating some business together. Now, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this presentation. If you have a scenario, what you want to do is just shoot me an email right here, jneufer@velocitymortgage.com, or feel free to give me a call or a text. And you should be able to scan this QR code and just get set up as a broker directly. And if that QR code doesn't work, don't worry about it. Just shoot me an email. I'll get you set up in your broker portal so you can start throwing me some deals. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time. Once again, this is a Velocity Mortgage product. I've been a wholesale AE here for 7 years. I also run my own brokerage. If you've seen my YouTube channel, I talk a lot about brokering loans. We actually feature a lot of other lenders on that platform. However, I run a brokerage. I also represent Velocity Money, and it just goes really well together so I can help as many people as possible in whatever scenario possible.